If you're watching this, you're in one of 7 levels of wealth. Wealth is a ladder. Most people are climbing it blindfolded and don't know what step they're on. Not understanding what I'm about to show you in this video is holding many people back from their potential. Let's start right at the bottom with level 1, survival. This is the reality for roughly 1 in every 20 households. Net worth here is close to 0 or even negative, meaning they owe more than they own. Life isn't about building wealth or saving for the future yet, it's simply about getting through the week. Many rely on government support to make ends meet, things like job seeker support, sole parent support, or the accommodation supplement. In Auckland, for example, that tops out at $305 a week for a family, while even a modest rental in South Auckland can cost as much as $500 a week or more. At this level, rent and food are the largest costs, chewing up nearly the entire weekly budget. There is nothing left over for savings, emergencies, or getting ahead. KiwiSaver accounts get emptied through hardship to cover the bills, and groceries are planned down to the dollar. For a family of 4, eating out or taking a holiday feels like a fantasy. 1 in every 8 children in New Zealand live in level 1 households, living in a closed cycle of poverty and material hardship. A single unexpected bill, a broken phone, a flat tire, or a medical expense can take weeks or months to recover. KiwiBank found that 30% of Kiwis couldn't afford to cover a $500 emergency, and at level 1, that statistic rings true. So the goal at level 1 is to get into paid employment, even part-time, and leveraging free upskilling or training programs to start generating consistent income. Once the debts and the bills are under control and the panic subsides, you've managed to step foot on the first rung of the wealth ladder. As you climb up the ladder, which we'll discuss later in the video, investing becomes increasingly important. Once I was making more than I was spending and my debts were all settled, investing in stocks and ETFs allowed me to put my money to work and grow in the background. A tool that I wish I had earlier in my journey is Investing Pro. It's a powerful tool from investing.com that helps you discover new investment ideas and analyze companies with real, up-to-date financial data. It's designed for everyday investors who want to make smarter, more confident choices in the market. I spent 4 years studying finance, and even then, Investing Pro makes it so much easier to find opportunities. The first feature I really like is the stock screener. Here I can sort through 53,000 stocks from all over the world, and it's highly customizable. If I want Australian blue chip companies paying at least a 5% dividend yield, it's as easy as this, and I get a shortlist of around 25 stocks. Second, I can jump into Warren AI, which is like a supercharged ChatGPT for investing, and ask it to research stocks with the specific attributes I'm looking for. This is important because I find it uncovers things that I wouldn't have found myself that can affect the quality of the dividend payments. So it's a powerful tool for research, exploration, or even just as a financial sidekick to double check your work. Click the link down below in the video description or scan this QR code to get started with Investing Pro today. It's for a limited time only, so don't miss out. Okay, so now let's take a look at level 2, what I call fragile stability. You're no longer in survival mode, but you're not financially secure yet. This is the most common bracket in New Zealand, made up of households with less than $100,000 in net worth. Here in New Zealand, roughly 1 in 5 households sit in level 2. You've likely got a steady income now, somewhere in the 5 digits on an annual basis. The bills get paid, but it still feels like you're walking a tightrope. Economists call this the paycheck-to-paycheck living. You're covering rent, food, and transport, but there's not much left after that. In Australia, the ADP estimates that roughly half of Australian workers are living paycheck to paycheck. So level 2 probably feels familiar to many of you watching. Maybe you've built a small super balance of 10 to 20,000, own a modest car worth less than 10,000, and have basic household furniture and appliances. Despite this, big expenses still hurt. A 2-bedroom rental on the fringes of Auckland can cost $500 to $700 a week, groceries another couple hundred, and childcare often wipes out whatever's left. So it's expensive just to stand still. Small pleasures like a cafe brunch or a night out feel like luxuries, and credit cards or buy now pay later schemes can be tempting just to make life feel less tight for a moment. You're not sinking, but you're treading water, one unexpected bill away from going backwards. To climb out of level 2 into level 3, your focus should be twofold: clear debt and build a buffer. Every dollar lost to interest is a dollar that could have built wealth. Start small, pay off high interest debt first, Then aim to build a simple emergency fund of $1,000 as your first buffer. This will protect you from an unexpected bill. Once the debt is shrinking and cash flows a bit freer, look for ways to earn more. Upskilling, taking certifications, side hustles, or even just job switching for a 10-20% pay bump. These are the moves that help level 2 households step up. The opportunities are out there. We're hearing lots of people being able to do this. The goal at this stage isn't luxury. So earn more, owe less, and save consistently. Moving along, we have level 3, the mortgage middle, as I like to call it. Welcome to the middle class and the biggest trap on the wealth ladder. At this stage, you've worked hard, probably saved for years, and finally bought a home. On paper, you've made it, but in reality, most of your money is tied up in a box of sticks. I should know, I did the exact same thing. The median household net worth in New Zealand now sits at around $500,000, right where level 3 households live. Most own their own home at this point, or rather, the bank does. The median Auckland house price is a little over $1 million, and even with a 20% deposit, you're taking on a mortgage of roughly $800,000. At 6% interest, that means mortgage payments are around $5,000 a month, or $60,000 a year. Meanwhile, the median household income in Auckland is $116,800. This means the average level 3 household spends an incredible 47% of their gross income on the mortgage. So yes, you're a homeowner, but cash still feels a little bit tight. Groceries can cost $300, $400 a week for a family, petrol and transport another couple hundred, plus rates, maintenance, childcare, and insurance, easily adding an extra $500 or more each month. You might have a decent-sized KiwiSaver and 2 cars in the driveway, but there's not a lot of spare cash left over for investing or even a night out. You can usually spot a level 3 household. They've got a home with a mortgage, 2 cars in the driveway, one of which is financed, kids are in the local state school, and they shop at New World or Countdown. They go on holiday every few years, maybe a trip to Aussie or Fiji mixed in, but most of the time they're focused on keeping up with the bills. The cost of living squeeze and heavy taxes bite the hardest here, where you're earning too much for help, but not enough to relax. I'm sure some of you watching are nodding. To move up from level 3, the key is breaking the mortgage trap. Start by paying it down faster. It's incredible when you run the numbers. I ran a quick test on the ANZ website. By paying 50% more than your minimum repayments, you can be debt-free in half the time and pay less than half in interest. But the real unlock comes from building assets outside the home. Regular KiwiSaver or super contributions, an investment account for index funds or dividend stocks, these are the things that actually grow your wealth. So resist lifestyle creep. Every bonus or pay rise that you redirect towards debt or investments brings you closer to financial independence. A bigger home or car or holiday or boat isn't going to get you to the next level. The key to escaping is building your asset base outside the home and having it grow in value or pay a regular income like interest, rent, or dividends. Now we start moving into the top tiers of wealth. Level 4 is called the upper middle or the high income handcuffs. At this point, you've broken out of the mortgage middle and risen into the top 20 to 30% of households by wealth. On paper, you're doing pretty well. You have a house with little to no mortgage left and a combined household income somewhere between about $150,000 and $250,000 a year. You're likely in a senior professional role or running a small business. Together, your KiwiSaver, your super accounts, and your investments have cracked 6 figures, and you're finally starting to see compound growth working in your favor. But with level 4 comes a new challenge: lifestyle inflation. Your home is in a good school zone. The kids have after-school activities every single day, and holidays, gym memberships, and brunches have quietly become essentials. By all accounts, your household runs smoothly, but it's expensive. Private schooling or extracurriculars can cost $10,000 to $20,000 a year, groceries a few hundred a week, and dining out costs another $300 to $400 a month. You own a couple of nice cars outright, with one of them probably being a late model SUV, at least here in Auckland. Life looks great from the outside, but the pressure never stops. If the income stopped flowing, the whole structure would start to wobble. And for level 4 households, the tax pinch is real. Many at this level sit near or above the highest tax bracket, losing 39 cents of every extra dollar earned. Add in the high fixed costs with the lifestyle, and despite the healthy income, there's often a lingering question: where is it all going? You're effectively wearing golden handcuffs. You're well paid and you're comfortable, but trapped by the very lifestyle your income has built. To move to the next level, level 5 households may focus on income structure and asset growth. Look for ways to shift from fully taxed salary into smarter tax-efficient income. This could include dividends, rental income, or business profits. Depending where in the world you're based, each of these incomes could be taxed very differently to a salary. If you own a business, this can offer some flexibility and expense deductions that employees can't access. Most importantly, stop letting your lifestyle grow in step with income. Every surplus dollar redirected into productive assets, like shares, property, or a business, is what unlocks the next rung of the ladder. The real freedom here comes when your assets start paying you, not the other way around. Level 4 still feels like a grind, but it's also the doorway to genuine financial independence. Now we're at the point where the game changes. Level 5, financial freedom. Level 5 is what most people imagine when they think of being financially free. You're now among the top 10 or 15% of households by wealth. Your net worth is in the low millions and it's spread across several asset classes, not just the family home. Now your house might be worth a couple of million with little to no mortgage remaining. You've built a 6-figure investment portfolio across superannuation and other accounts, and you may own a rental property or a profitable business on the side. Income isn't just from work anymore. Your assets now generate a 6-figure income stream through dividends, rent, or business profits. So work is increasingly optional. What you do now is driven by purpose or interest, rather than financial necessity. Daily life feels stable and comfortable. There is no panic over grocery prices or fuel costs, and overseas travel is taken in comfort, sometimes even business class. You might own a sports car outright, travel often with the family, and donate time or money to causes you care about. You're no longer trading hours for survival, you're buying back time. At this level, the focus shifts from accumulation to preservation, growth, and optimization. A family trust may hold your assets for protection and tax efficiency, and a team of professionals like an accountant, a lawyer, or an advisor help manage the structure. Financial stress doesn't disappear, but it evolves. You're starting to think about diversification and your legacy. To move beyond level 5, it takes an inner sense of dedication, as it's already so comfortable at this point. You need ambition and discipline to keep compounding wealth. This means continually reinvesting income, reallocating capital in underperforming assets, and leaning into higher growth opportunities. This could include commercial property, private investments, or tax-efficient index funds. Most people stop here because life is good, and that's okay. But for those who want to just keep climbing, the next levels demand not just money, but mindset. Thinking like a capital allocator, not a consumer. For level 6 households, they're absolutely considered wealthy. This is where the top 5% of households are found. We started the video by looking at the poorest 5%, and the lives of the top 5% couldn't be further apart. At this stage, wealth becomes serious and opportunities multiply. In New Zealand, you're looking at a net worth above $3.7 million at this point. Level 6 households own multiple classes of asset, including property, usually a business, and millions in investments across shares, index funds, and super accounts. Most level 6 households structure their wealth through family trusts for protection. Around 1 in 10 Kiwi households have a trust, and on average, trust holders have a net worth of $2.4 million. For this group, wealth is no longer about comfort, it's about access. You're investing in private equity, off-market property, or early-stage ventures that simply aren't available to ordinary people. It's networks, not paychecks, that open doors. Work may still happen for level 6 households, but it's by choice, not necessity. Your assets often generate hundreds of thousands in passive income every year, funding an easy rhythm of life with high-end cars, overseas travel, private schooling for the kids, and freedom to pursue projects that matter. But more than luxuries, the real hallmark of level 6 is control of time. Your household runs efficiently. Everyday tasks are outsourced, and your professional advisors form part of your regular team. At this level, priorities shift towards topics like succession, philanthropy, and risk management. Your focus becomes about preserving capital and ensuring your money continues to work intelligently across generations. Flaunting wealth becomes unnecessary, and instead, privacy and efficiency matter more. You start to think in systems, not salaries, and your life operates like a well-run business. To reach the final level of the ladder, The key is scale and stability. Wealth grows exponentially as you jump from level 6 to 7, but more so when you look within level 7. I was recently in Dubai, so let me tell you all the levels to this stuff. If you own a $350,000 G-Wagon outright, you're obviously doing pretty well. Well, in Dubai, above owning this, you have the Brabus version, which sells for $1 million. Well, you can rise even higher to the Mansory version, with the limited editions going for a couple million. And then to top it all off, you can put a multi-million-dollar number plate on the car. So there are levels to this. Even the same car can have an exponential scale, and it's the same with level 7 wealth. This is the summit of the wealth ladder, the 1%. In New Zealand, you'd need at least $8.7 million in net worth. This can go all the way up to $20 billion in the case of the Mowbrays. At this level, wealth is no longer about lifestyle, it's about influence and control and legacy. You likely own multiple businesses, several properties across premium locations like Herne Bay, Parnell, Waiheke, or Queenstown, and you hold significant equity stakes in public and private companies. Family trusts and holding structures tie it all together, protecting wealth across generations. Work, if it happens at all, is done by choice, like taking board seats, pursuing angel investments, or projects driven by curiosity rather than necessity. Travel is frequent but deliberate. It's not usually to tourist hotspots, but rather to destinations of privacy and prestige like the Maldives, the south of France, and Aspen in winter. International trips often coincide with global gatherings like the World Economic Forum or the Monaco Grand Prix, where networking with other leaders and investors is the true event. At this stage, money is replaced by time as the most valuable asset. Chores and logistics are fully delegated, so daily life runs seamlessly. The household is managed like an enterprise, supported by assistants and long-term staff. The things that all the other levels call luxuries are simply normal operations here. Their splurges are now trivial by comparison. Exclusivity and privacy take their place here. Memberships in private invite-only clubs, whether business, golf, or alumni networks, act as filters for relationships and opportunities. True belonging at this level requires more than money. It demands reputation, discretion, and access. The mindset here is one of preservation and impact. Level 7 wealth focuses on legacy, how to protect and pass on prosperity, shape industries, or fund causes that outlive you. For the ultra-wealthy, the ladder ends, not in more money, but in the quiet power to decide how the future unfolds. From around level 3 upward, one theme becomes crystal clear. True wealth doesn't come from owning more property, it comes from owning more assets that work for you. Beyond your home, it's diversification that builds freedom, investing in shares, index funds, businesses, and income streams that grow even while you sleep. That's exactly where today's video sponsor, Investing Pro, can help. It's a powerful research platform designed to help investors find, filter, and analyze stocks and ETFs using real financial data. Whether you're just starting to invest or managing a serious portfolio, it's one of the best tools I've found for comparing opportunities and building long-term wealth strategies. So use the code BRENT at checkout or click the link in the video description to access the flash sale pricing. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my newsletter in the video description, and subscribe to my channel. I've posted over 250 videos showing Australian and Kiwi investors how to grow their wealth through stocks, dividends, home ownership, and many others. If you want to know more about the average wealth in Australia and New Zealand, check these videos out next, where I go through all the official data. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Cheers.